I'm back again with another video, Bad News Brown. And if you're new to my channel, I touch on a lot of topics. Today's topic is going to be, I'm going to speak a little bit about the crack era. I was asked the question, well, for one, where exactly did crack hit first? And is the crack era officially over? And those are both trick questions, but I'm going to have at it anyway, so here we go. Well, first, is the crack era over? No. But I see what people mean. And the reason why it's not is because there's still crackheads. And this is with anything, as long as there is a demand for it, it's always going to be there. A good example is if McDonald's go out of business, are you still going to stop eating hamburgers? Probably not. So that applies to any commodity. So the crack era is not over, but it's definitely bottomed out. And let me go back just a little bit. And I'm going to speak on this for people who may be watching this video 10, 20 years down the line. Well, what exactly is crack? Well, crack was a drug that not even legend has it, basically was created it by the CIA scientists in cahoots with cartel to target black communities in the late 70s, early 80s. And this has been proven. So, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what crack is and was. A drug created by the government to target lower class black communities. Now, that doesn't answer the question where exactly crack hit. So, well, first thing, more than likely, it started in the Bay, then LA, then the rest of the US, or vice versa. It started in LA, then hit the Bay, then to the rest of the US. Now, the San Francisco Bay Area, the CIA has been known to be conducting drug experiments in the Bay since the 50s and the 60s with the whole LSD and all those type of psychedelic drugs. So it is quite safe to say that being that the Bay was already the first crash test dummy site for new drugs, experiment drugs, it was almost killing two birds with one stone for them designing it, creating it here, targeting the blacks here to quell the revolutionary spirit, and then of course to LA, to the rich stars, and then the rest of the US. And vice versa, it's no secret that most of the drugs that enter the US come from south of the border. So it's quite likely that it could have been maybe designed in the Bay using Bay Area scientists or whatnot, but created down that way, then brought up this way, then hit LA first, then this way, then the rest of the US. So it's evidence to support both. And also on another thing, on a quick side note, I was watching a little interview with Freeway Rick, and he actually mentioned where exactly the word crack came from, and I never really gave him much thought, but I guess when the freebase back when it first was coming out or whatever, the dope fiends would just take a piece of it, like a crack of it, and the rest is history. But anyway, so nah, the dope game, the crack game is not over. It's definitely bottomed out. It did its damage, unfortunately, and as we know, they come out with new drugs every year now. So definitely drugs is still here, whether you want to call it crack or anything else. And You can just take a look outside in your average city, and you can see the damages. Another funny thing, just on another side note, a lot of the homeless, and this is, how should I put this? Like when I see homeless people now, don't get me wrong, I'm all, because I identify a lot with the Black Panther perspective, so should nobody be homeless. But what I'm saying is, you got homeless people, but a lot of the so-called homeless people I be seeing now be have type of mental issues. And don't get me wrong, you still got, fortunately or unfortunately, sane homeless people, but you don't too much see them because I'm pretty sure they're working on not being homeless or living or whatever. And a lot of the people you see just out a lot of times got mental issues for whatever reason, whether it's from severe abuse of the dope or from a myriad of other reasons. But I just thought that being kind of odd and ironic, and they're not crackheads. Basically, that's what I'm trying to speak on. So it's obviously new drugs again being created are already out there, and a lot of the crackheads. Yeah, some will say, I've heard, well, eventually they're gonna die out, and then you got this whole new generation coming up, and yeah, but who knows, man? Of course, I'm not pro drug, but I'm just really speaking on, like I said, as long as there's a demand, and this is with anything, there's going to always be a supply, for better, for worse. So the demand for drugs is there, and quelling that is a whole different issue. But to answer the question is, crack likely started in the Bay or LA. Well, first got introduced into the Bay or LA, then the rest of the US, and then the rest of the world. And it was specifically designed to target the black and poor communities. And I don't think the crack era is over. It just bottomed out. So, and I don't know if that's good or bad, being again, they got plenty of more new other drugs for the new generation. So, y'all just say no. Bad News Brown breaking it down real quick. Again, like I said, I speak on a lot of things. This particular, of course, this is a real tricky, touchy subject. Not even that, but I can speak a lot about it. But again, I just wanted to kind of just get to the point of those questions. And of course, I can definitely elaborate on the conspiracy part of that, of this crack. And we already know, again, who was targeted, and that's a form of chemical warfare, FYI. You got biological warfare, which is disease or whatever. And y'all stay solid, man. Peace.